Welcome back, subscribers. I'm going to talk about, again, transition and change, and your mind and how you think of things, and you put yourself into a new reality, and your mindset. You're changing your constitution, if you will. You're eliminating your programming, you're reprogramming your mind, right, and your subconscious. All right, and this is something really simple. I can explain this in a way that is uh something that I experienced over a period of it goes back, I guess, 30 years. So as I growing up in the Northeast, it was lily white. We had no color in our high school. If we had interest, like there was there was one black student that was in our class. His name was George Hastings. He was 2 years older than us. So he was like, when I was a sophomore, he was 2 years older. So I was a sophomore, he was a senior. And George was he's just a regular dude. He played some sports. He was he was on the baseball team. And so there was some mixing that was around him. He was no great athlete. We would we'd be like, how come you can't jump super high? How come you're not on the basketball team? They're like stereotyping it, right? And but it was all we were being nice, but being serious, because it was like we're seeing that and from the outside looking in. So we're growing up in a very small, confined area that doesn't have a lot of exposure. It was a closed environment and super small town, and just didn't have that in our space. And it was interesting. This is the advent of like gangster rap and NWA, Easy, exciting, MTV raps, seeing all this stuff like pumping into your house through cable TV, sports, Ricky Henderson, Bo Jackson, Mike Tyson, you know what I mean? All these athletes that we were like revered, Michael Jordan, like we absolutely loved it. I mean, who couldn't love that? So there really wasn't a space. I was just talking to my son about this yesterday and said, we really didn't grow up with racism. I said even though we didn't have anyone around to compare to, I said, it was like, they didn't really pump it into us like it was a thing. We just didn't have any like exposure to any of it. Like I could put my hands on somebody that was different than me. Just didn't have it. But we saw it from outside. So it really softened that, perception. So I said, I didn't have any like opinions. You know what I mean? There was really no way to be racist, I guess, at that period, if you thought of it that way. So anyway, we were talking about that. And I said, what came to work, I said, when I came south, I said, there was an interesting thing that happened. I said that we didn't have any Hispanic labor in New York State. All right. Now, I'm not talking New York City. I'm talking about like Buffalo, Erie, Pennsylvania, that section of it. There wasn't any. And to come down here for somebody that was working inside of inside the construction industry, it was just, you didn't see it. And it was something that I was it was like we're going to like almost like a foreign land, if you will. Like I'm going to another country, and it's just, driving 10 hours south, and I'm in a completely different environment. Like, well, how do I do this? So I have to compete against these guys. Are they really illegal? They don't pay taxes. You start hearing like all this stuff. Like it was like kind of folklore that was inside of what people would say, that were ignorant. They weren't undereducated based upon the economics of an environment, And so when we first came south, there was a lot of immigrant labor that was down here. Whether it didn't matter what the industry was, roofing, siding, masonry work, whatever else. And then starting to talk to people and be like, okay, well, is there room for us? Like I felt like it was like the first time in my life, like I felt like I'm the minority. I need to be the one that figured out, like, well, how do I make the most of this situation? Because I could see there's a lot of work going on here. What are the rates and what are the areas because we could do anything from where we came. So we're kind of picking and choosing it, but we're talking to people local, saying like, Okay, this is what our skill set is. Is there an environment that more immigrant labor goes into? So because I can't compete with that. I don't want to get involved in it. And so we kind of came at it from a little bit different perspective, but it didn't infuriate me to say like, oh, hey, these guys are the concrete business is not worth going into because it's full of immigrants, or the roofing business, whatever. Well, like, no, it's fine. Like, just a lot of the jobs that were non-skilled jobs seem to be the ones that were, that's what was kind of told to us, the ones that really didn't take a lot of craftsmanship were being chewed up by the immigrants because they were typically coming across and they didn't have any skills. So they moved towards landscaping and things like that. Not saying that you're not have to be skilled to do those jobs, but to do labor type work, hard labor, yeah, you get people that are unskilled, and they'll do the work, and then typically they'll learn that skill, and then they'll move up. Is the way it works in the blue collar world. But they're perfectly content with staying, working a shovel, or, with digging holes or roofing or whatever else it was. They were just pleased to do it. So, it took us a little bit of transition. The guys that I brought down from the north, I had a crew of guys, my partner, we brought a couple other guys down. There was, definitely some, I wouldn't call it racism, but it was like, the lack of understanding of the competition that was having to be laid on them as American citizens. And these people are coming in here and taking all the XYZ. And I remember saying to them, I'm like, I was like, do you really want to get on the roof right now? It's 100 degrees outside and it's about 150 on the roof. You're telling me that he took your job, or you want your back to be splitting, like aching from pouring concrete? I'm like, you guys already know what those jobs are. Be like, it's a blessing that these guys are doing this. And once they could see it from that perspective, it eased. It's just like, stop looking at it from such an ignorant perspective and just be happy that these people are here and they're willing to do the work, because I don't want to do that work. So, so anyway, we're back to this immigrant workforce. So in Raleigh, in the construction industry, there's probably, at least when I was at full force, it's about 50-50 of guys that are actually like whether they have working papers or they're like totally not like they just came across the border like a week ago. It's about 50%. I don't know what it is now, but it was pretty high. And that was about, I got out of it about 5 years ago when I sold my other company. I didn't necessarily I had guys that worked for me that had working papers, but grateful to have them come out, and they're super hardworking. They show up every day. They have families, everything that you want basically as a business owner. They got it. They've got it. And it's not just one. It's not like there's one out of 100 is a good guy. They're pretty much all the same. They're all interested in prosperity and, making money and being and growing and things like that. It's not all about making money in the US. The stuff that's nationally that people talk about is so ignorant. It's ridiculous. They make money and they send it back down to Mexico, and then, they steal our money and our jobs. I'm like, oh my gosh, you are freaking ignorant. Why don't you come down here, but work? Put your tool belt on and get out there and work, and do it for, I don't know, 2 to 5 years, and you'll shut the hell up real quick. All right. Same thing of people that work in field work, groundwork, any of that stuff. I'm like, and if you managed it and you ran businesses where you had to have labor and understood the markets of what the costs are, you're going to shift your perception of this very, very quickly. But people that are desk sitting shitheads that don't understand any of this, that don't see this on a day-to-day basis, forget it. Like, just keep your mouth shut unless you get down and you actually get into it. And not to mention, what these people do for the local economy is significant. They have to have cars. They have to have car insurance. They do have driver's licenses. You get a driver's license and not be part of the United States. Absolutely. They have to buy food. They have to buy they have children. They have apartments. They buy houses. XYZ. They can do all those things. That's very beneficial to the economy of the United States. Well, they don't pay the taxes, and be like, they don't pay taxes? Be like, they don't pay sales tax? Oh, if they put gasoline in their car, they're not paying the tax on the gasoline? Really? They're tax exempt? Be like, what are you, stupid? They don't pay their income taxes. And be like, guys, that's not what they're worried about. These guys spend money. They are in here and they're keeping business rolling. That's invaluable. So if there's a little bit of money that's lost based upon, income tax, forget it. It doesn't even matter. Forget it. Because they're dumping so much more money into the rest of the industries that the people that they're dumping it in, they're basically laundering cash and bringing it into regular business industry, and then those businesses that do pay taxes, they pay the taxation back in. So it's more like tax deferral than it is about them not paying taxes. Be like, do you think if the person gets, let's say, auto insurance, that the auto insurance company is not going to charge them taxation, right? Be like, or they go to the grocery store and sales tax is XYZ in the county. Are they going to get away from not paying the taxes? I'm like, you people are so freaking ignorant. You're talking about income tax. And at the end of the day, if anybody runs a business, you basically try to pay as limited amount of tax as possible. So like my businesses, the way I've done it historically, have been like, I'm trying to get it down to zero. I'm not paying any income tax. I'm having expenses, basically. And I want my accountant to be like, you need to make some money. You can't do this. That's the game. So but I'm basically in the same boat as that person that is like hated by these people that don't understand market and business. It's ridiculous. And I'm like, well, if you don't like them, then that means you don't like me, because I'm a business owner and I'm going to hire these guys or gals, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing they're doing. So that means you don't like me, and I'm an American. But that's a system that our politicians, they created this system in order to keep the business running. And just, again, like, people just don't understand it. It's not that you don't pay taxes. It's just that you find ways to defer or put it into places that was created by the administrations to spur more business. That's what it's for. I create more jobs. It's a very right-wing conservative approach to doing it. But I'll promise you this, like, how many people that are on the left side of the aisle in Washington, how many of them trade and have businesses and do exactly the same thing? Right? So it's not like they're Bernie saying, oh man. So it's just, they talk out of both sides of their mouth. It's ridiculous. So at any rate, anyway, it's things to think about, that the job force and the perception of having these people come in is totally skewed. And this morning, so I'm getting some roofing done at my house. There's 10 guys at my house right now from a company I used to use like about 20 years ago when I was building houses. And it's Robco Residential. I'll give them a shout out. And they're out of Benson, North Carolina. But they've been around for 35 years or something. And I used to use them when I was building houses. Call them up, still in business. Hey, does Tony still work there? No, he left a few years ago. I was like, hey, got to need a roof. Send the guys out. There's 10 guys at my house this morning. They're all Hispanic. One of them speaks English. And these guys are like ants. They're professional like animals. They are just killing it. And 8 o'clock, they're here like maybe 10 minutes before 8. Everybody knows what they're doing, and they're just an army of guys. And they go in there and they'll shingle the whole house in a day. All right, strip it, shingle it in one day. A machine. And I was like, you know what? If I took this, if the guy that worked for me whenever we first came down south, his father was the largest roofing contractor in our county in this part. It's called Chautauqua County, New York State. In the whole county, the largest roofing contractor. All right, he sees these crews. This is nothing different. It's not just the crew that's at my house, but it's just, that's the norm. That's the market that's in this space. Once he saw how they did it, he said to me, he's like, there's no way in the world my father's company could compete down here. Zero. Impossible. And he knew it because he'd been in the business since he was like seen it since 4 years old. All right. Because that's the market. I'm like, yeah, they don't mess around here, man. This is serious shit. So each market and each location, in order to really understand how it works, you really need to get boots on the ground. You really need to see what's happening. And that's why I want to hear other people in other markets, talk about their experiences and their business and things like that. That's what we're doing here. So, yeah, I'm excited to go back home and have a new roof on my house when I get back. And I know they'll do a great job. Cheers.